Discipline. What's actually so special about it? Look, we hear about it all the time and about how important it is to actually achieve our goals. We need to build up some discipline. Want to build your dream body? Be more disciplined. Want to become a millionaire and quit the job you hate? Be more disciplined. But nobody actually explains how to become more disciplined. You've been doing it wrong this entire time. Watching a motivational David Goggins video at 2 in the morning, getting up and then doing 10 push-ups isn't building discipline. That's relying off a quick boost of motivation, which is just inconsistent, and that's going to get you nowhere. We get all these quick random boosts of motivation, but then fall off when it becomes too hard. You see, that's the truth about discipline. It's meant to be hard. You know, if it was that easy, we'd all be walking around with 6-packs, big arms, as millionaires, but we're not, because discipline isn't easy. That's because as soon as your motivation wears off and it becomes inconvenient to do the hard thing when you don't feel like it, you stop going to the gym, you stop getting up early, and then suddenly these hard tasks become really difficult. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to enjoy these hard tasks, even when you don't feel like it, and finally become the disciplined person you've always been wanting to be. First up, discipline beats motivation every single time. You see, motivation, it's only a feeling, and feelings are just temporary. So this can mean motivation is just unreliable because we're just relying on that feeling. Look, be honest, we've all felt motivated before. You know, like I said, you've probably watched some motivational video, could be David Goggins or something like that. You've got yourself hyped, you've said yourself, this is it. This is finally the time. I'm going to reach my goals. I'm going to become a disciplined person, and this will be my time to lock in. And don't get me wrong, at the start, you probably feel unstoppable. You probably feel undefeatable. But fast forward a few hours or a few days later, you've already burnt out and you became inconsistent again. So here's the thing. Motivation is the spark, but discipline is the fire. This is why most people rely on sparks their entire life, but never be able to start the fire. You see, a disciplined person doesn't wait for that quick boost of energy to get started. They create that energy themselves by taking action even when they don't feel like it. Once you act, your brain is going to follow. You'll start to build momentum, you'll start to build consistency, and then finally, when you look in the mirror, you'll have a changed identity and see a disciplined person that enjoys doing these hard tasks. Now look, motivation might get you started, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but discipline is what's going to get you to your goals and keep you consistent over time. Now, the next point that I want to make is to take everything slowly, but consistently. A huge mistake people make is that they try to change everything all at once. They'll go from being a stinky degenerate to then suddenly saying, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., I'm going to read 3 books a week, I'm going to work out 2 hours a day. That's not going to work. That's way too big of a jump to be moving that quickly. You're going to get burnt out really, really fast. You see, discipline is going to grow from small wins every day. If you start with something small and progressively building up, you're not going to fail. Look, some examples I'd like to give is instead of reading a whole book, saying to yourself, I'm going to read a whole book today. Start off with saying, I'm going to read 5 pages. Instead of saying, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours and hit a 6 session today. Maybe start off with saying, I'm going to buy a gym membership. You're not going to be perfect right from the beginning, but if you build up discipline slowly and consistently, that will give you the momentum of where you want to be. Now, another misconception about discipline is that it's not always about willpower. It's about building a structured lifestyle. You know, when it comes to discipline, you should think smarter, not harder. You know, instead of using so much energy, mental energy to resist temptation every day, just make it harder to give in. Look, say for example, you're trying to get some work done, but you keep picking up your phone, seeing the notifications. Put your phone in a different room, give it a try. If you say to yourself that you want to wake up in the morning and go for a run, but you struggle to get up, leave your shoes and running clothes next to your bed. So when you wake up in the morning, you'll see them next to it. The point here is to try not to rely on self-control and willpower. You should rely on strategy and your routine and change your environment to fit your needs. Now, this final part is what's going to make you unbreakable. It's going to make you different from the rest. You can follow all the strategies, you can follow all the routines, you can remove all the distractions, but if you look in the mirror and still see yourself as a lazy, undisciplined loser, none of it will matter. Discipline isn't about what you're doing, it's about who you believe you're becoming. Don't tell yourself, I'm trying to be more disciplined. No. Tell yourself, I am a disciplined person, and give your brain that new identity. You don't have to try to work hard all the time when you don't feel like it. You just do it anyway, because that's the type of person you are. It becomes part of you, your identity. Once your own self-image starts to match your goals, you're gonna stop negotiating with your excuses. You're gonna stop waiting for the right time, and you're just gonna do it. And at that point, you'll become unbreakable. Look, if you've managed to get to the end of this video, have the discipline to sit down and try and change your life, I think you're already on the right path and on the way to achieving your goals. Thank you boys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.